Global sourcing will definitely bring challenges to logistics sector. What are these challenges? And how could global buyers overcome these challenges?
Yeah, that's. I think these challenges are certainly given, first of all, by the lead time. What I said, if you ship by containers, and I think most auto parts will be too expensive to ship by air, so you have these 3 to 4 weeks on the sea. You know, adding the land transport to the harbor, to the ports, and the same on the side in Europe or US. You add another 1 to 2 weeks, so that means you have to manage a supply chain for 5 weeks, you know, which is pretty long compared when you source local, whereas where you have normally 2-3 days. Certainly not for all components, but for many components. So that is something where you have to be prepared as a Chinese supplier. And how to overcome that? I think you have maybe you have to start pilots. As a Chinese supplier, you have to start maybe locking into a European OEM and try to start delivering into that and learn by doing it what you have to do. You know, you have to track your goods over over this process of 6, 7, or 5 to 6 weeks. You may have to get to know how to run a finished goods warehouse close to the OEM facility in Europe or US. These are the things you have to do, and frankly, I think not everybody is ready to do that, because it's quite a difference if you're just connected by over a distance of 200, 300, 400 kilometers, having your OEM close to here versus having these, which is a 12-hour or 24-hour transport distance versus a 5 to 6 weeks transport distance, and that is certainly puts a high demand on what I said already. Tracking of the parts, inventory management, and managing whatever customs, tariffs, etc. So these are, I think, the challenge, but they are given the long distance of transport time.
In China, what is average percentage of logistic cost in OEM's overall revenue?
To be frank, I don't have a number, and I would be very careful in putting here a number, because there are, the classic is inventory carrying cost, warehouse cost, and transport cost. These are the typical ones which people will see as supply chain costs. In Europe that often is between 6, 8 to 10%. But what you have a lot of is these hidden supply chain costs. When you have, let's say, bad quality, you have to send them back. If you have production schedule changes, since a supplier couldn't deliver on time, and you have to change your production schedule. So these are the hidden costs, and I think they are in a growth environment like we are today, like we have today in China, are much more important. Because on the classical logistics cost, I think the freight cost, which is trucking and transport, you cannot do a lot. On the inventory cost, okay, they are given how close you interact. So I would not say this percentage is the most important one. I would more look at the overall picture. What's the impact of supply chain for an OEM in terms of, can he make his production schedule? Can he sell his products? Does he have the support for the next product generation to be on time with its new products? And there I would say this is much more important than just measuring a standard factor on transport or inventory cost, which sum up to a certain percentage.
China now has very efficient logistic infrastructure like highways, railways, and airports. Why are the logistic and transportation costs for China's auto parts sector still so high?
Yes, as a foreigner coming here now and living in this impressive country for 3 years, I'm really impressed about the infrastructure you put into the country, be it on railway, be it on streets, be it on ports. To be frank, if you say we have high logistics cost, and I take that now as a classic logistics cost, which is transport, I don't think they are that high. My understanding is that the transport costs in China are relatively low
than European countries?
Yes. Because you have certainly a kind of overcapacity of trucking truck drivers, etc., with their own trucks who drive wherever you want to go. I think this will stay for some time. We certainly have the problem of overloading, etc., that most of these trucks are factor 2 to 3 overloads in some areas. I think this will go over time, go away, since this will be curbed by the government, and I know that the government is trying hard to diminish that. That may actually increase a little bit of the transport cost, because the overloading will be reduced. But I wouldn't say that this is a big issue, these transport costs. And they're a little bit more expensive in Europe. I think this is not a very big issue. It's more having the parts on time in a decent flexibility once I do product changes at the OEM assembly factory.
A last question. Could you give some advice to logistic providers of China's automotive industry?
Yeah, looking at the logistics provider industry, I think comparing that with Europe, what you have seen in Europe, that logistics provider really grow from pure trucking into warehouse management and quality management, etc. And I would say that this will sooner or later come also in China, because as an automotive OEM, my business is assembling a car, innovating a car and assembling a car, but not running a warehouse. So this is, I think, an ideal field for a logistics provider, that it meaning that they don't just deliver by truck the parts from an OEM warehouse, from a supplier warehouse to an OEM warehouse, but start managing maybe the incoming goods warehouse from an OEM by managing the whole inventories, managing the final distribution into the assembly plant, and managing even optimal safety stocks and working stock levels for the OEM for this various supplier parts. So I think this pure logistics task will expand over time, and but the challenges on behalf of the transportation companies to invest in these kind of to invest in this kind of knowledge, and to make the OEMs a good offer of what can they do more than just trucking from one place to the other.
Thank you, Mr. Raimund. Thank you for accepting guest interview.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.